When you're at the boardwalk or some sketchy underpass or even the streets of a big city, you're pretty likely to encounter homeless people, and a lot of times you kind of just walk by because there are too many of them to help out, or maybe you believe that there are better ways to help them than just giving them money and would prefer to teach them something or help guide them instead. Or maybe you're afraid they'll buy booze or something terrible with your generous donation. In any case, you would not believe that there are actually fake homeless people out there. Yes, people that purposely wear messed up clothing and those beat up black leather shoes just to make a quick buck. Not only is it morally wrong because of the mentality, but there are actual homeless people out there who could use that money for food. So that kind of pushes you a tier above being terrible and makes you most accurately, well,
you're a big fat phony!
Welcome back to Top 5 Central, everyone, where today we're going to be cracking down on these fakes. So here are the top 5 fake homeless people exposed on camera. Like this video right now if you hate people who fake being homeless just to prey on charitable people, and subscribe. It's, well, free. Number 5. So obviously it's bad when anyone pretends to be homeless, but there are two things about this story that make it even more awful than usual. I mean, for a start, it's not just one fake homeless person, it's a whole group of them, and they even coordinate to make sure they don't hit up the same spots and raise any questions. As if that's not bad enough, they also have children with them that they basically use as like props, all the way from like elementary school age kids to babies young enough to breastfeed. Anyway, this group sits around malls in 2s or 3s, and all of them have signs that say they've lost their jobs and have kids at home to look after. People in the area were actually really nice at first, giving them money and asking if they needed any help. But then they noticed that the signs each group had looked weirdly similar. That's when they got the news involved, and pretty quickly cameras caught the people acting, well, not so homeless. Turns out the group were all driving rental cars instead of getting on the bus like they said, and made a living driving around the country pretending to be beggars. That's pretty shameless.
The young girl making sure they didn't leave their sign behind.
Same sign.
Or this group that panhandled outside the Fallbrook Center.
Now they moved to Westfield, Topanga.
Only to drive to another mall a few miles away.
Oh, you lost your job? Oh my gosh.
Our undercover producer approached this woman and daughter who admitted that she's a regular.
Number 4. Here's the thing about being a fake panhandler. If you stand around bragging about where all your money's going when you think no one can hear, then you really can't complain when you get called out. I mean, this woman and her daughter keep food in their car to give to homeless people all the time, but something they overheard made them think that these two people weren't actually in need. Basically, they heard the man and woman talking about paying off their cars and buying brand new tires, even as they were standing there saying they needed money for food and shelter. Not surprisingly, they decided they couldn't just let them lie and keep collecting money, so they came up with an ingenious plan.
The situation heated up when the panhandlers came back to confront them.
All they did was get their own piece of cardboard and a marker, and write the word fraud on it so everyone would know who's passing by. Then they stood next to the so-called homeless people to put people off donating, and let's just say they weren't too happy about that. The panhandlers ended up getting the cops called on them when they punched the woman in the chest and started threatening them. But there was nothing the cops could do about the fake sob story.
As long as they're staying out of the traffic lanes, there's nothing we can do. They can stand there and put anything they want on their sign.
Number 3. Here's something you might not know. There's actually no American law that says you can't lie and pretend to be homeless. With that said, plenty of individual towns and states have their own rules about what is and isn't allowed, and that's what got this fake panhandler locked up. I mean, this guy had a serious routine. He would get dropped off from home by the woman he lived with, and they would hold up a sign saying he was homeless. Then, at the end of the day, the woman would pick him up again and they would go home. Like, they did this so often that the police saw it happen and eventually arrested and released him since he promised not to do it again. Well, you could probably guess what happened next, but just in case you can't, the short version is he didn't stop. In fact, he was found in another nearby town doing the exact same thing, so this time the police took action. Since that town had a bylaw about people impersonating the homeless, the guy actually ended up in court, and whether he gets fined or jail time is anyone's guess. Either way, I'm guessing he won't try the scheme again after his punishment, because jail isn't a place anyone wants to call home.
These pictures were sent to Western Mass News showing 80-year-old Richard Boyce panhandling in Windsor, Connecticut. Chicopee police officer Michael Wilk tells Western Mass News it's the same man who Ludlow police arrested last week for falsely claiming he was homeless to solicit money from motorists. Police say after Boyce was arrested, he admitted to living in a home in Chicopee with a woman who drops him off for daily solicitations.
Chicopee police have dealt with this party numerous times here in our city. Our officers have taken action against him through the courts. It's the same party, like I said, that has gone to Ludlow, and I know for a fact I've spoken to the investigating officer in Ludlow. They are now in the process of taking court action against him as well.
Number 2. Now, anyone pretending to be homeless must be pretty shameless, but this woman takes it to a whole other level of bad. She doesn't just pretend to be down on her luck and need money, she pretends to be disabled as well. Shocking, I know, but this woman has a whole character and even a costume to help her get more sympathy. I'm not joking, she stands on 5th Avenue wearing a headscarf and floor-length black clothes, bent over on crutches like she can't even stand up straight. Even worse, when she does walk around, she hobbles slowly and like she's in pain, even though in reality, there's nothing wrong with her. Her daily routine normally looks like this. She changes into her panhandling clothes in the back of her van, and then gets the bus to 5th Avenue after parking on a street far away. Then she spends her whole day shaking her cup for donations, gets the bus back to her van, and then drives home. When she gets home, not only is she wearing completely different clothes, but she's walking completely normally. Honestly, it's hard for me to be sympathetic when camera crews confront her about the lies, even if she is totally on tilt after being discovered.
I decided it was time to ask her a few questions.
We've been watching you the last few days, and you don't really need those crutches, do you? We saw you this morning walking perfectly fine.
But like any good actor, she never broke character.
Look, the jig is up. Why don't you just walk normally like you did this morning?
Here's a few honorable mentions that are still bad, but didn't quite make the cut.
Michael, if you know the intersection of Linton Boulevard and Military Trail here in Delray Beach, you know that for the last few months, a group of 5 men have been showing up here holding signs saying that they're raising money for football camp. And if you were suspicious, you had reason to be.
This picture, taken Monday afternoon, shows street-side salesmen making their pitch. Please help our football camp.
In this neighborhood, everybody's trying to help each other, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to do the right thing.
Bob DeMeza has given them $5 a few times, against his better judgment.
I realized that afterwards with the cardboard signs and no names on the shirts, I figured something was going on.
The picture was taken yesterday by Stephanie Slater, Boynton Beach Police's public information officer. Over the last few months, she'd seen them at numerous South County intersections.
They look too old to be high school students, and if they were part of a traveling football league, they wouldn't have to be out there every single day.
Slater called Delray Police, who came, interviewed the 5 men, and figured out they weren't representing any football camp. The Broward County men, all in their 20s, were given warnings for soliciting without a permit. Slater says it's a good example of what police stress all the time.
In Modesto, police say 2 self-proclaimed professional panhandlers were raking in money at $180 an hour. They said they even sent thousands of dollars to family overseas. KCRA 3's Claire Dewan is live in Modesto with how the Sacramento couple gained sympathy and donations from people. Claire?
Well, Kelly, the shopping center behind me is where police say in just 2 hours, a couple made $365 just from panhandling. But it wasn't just the couple, it was the entire family. Money doesn't grow on trees, but it's easy to get at this corner, where police seized all this cash from 2 self-proclaimed Romanian gypsies who say begging is their job. What works best, says the 20-something couple who were cited and released, is their children. Marian and Elena Hornea told police they used their 5- and 7-year-olds to milk money.
Number 1. Alright, I've already said that including your kids in your scams is pretty low, but judging from this woman's reaction when she was caught out, I don't think she really cared. Like, she wasn't just standing alone at the side of the road. She also had her little boy with her, and even her husband joined her to ask for help on the weekends. All that, plus the fact that she was already pregnant, meant she got a lot of sympathy. And a lot of sympathy means a lot of donations. But did she need the money? Turns out, not as much as you think. A woman who had been watching her for a while saw her leave with her kid, and then get in a Mercedes-Benz and start to drive away. Not only that, when the woman confronted her, she got seriously violent and picked up a giant rock to throw at the person who gave her away. That's really not how pregnant women should behave for a start, but it's also no way to behave in front of your kid. Even worse, after they fled and even moved apartments to avoid being caught, they probably just picked up their scam and started over somewhere new. And that's the problem that we face today. I mean, there really is nothing you could technically do about it if it isn't federally illegal, so who knows, maybe they might change that soon.
Left. Smith said she wants people to know about this couple before they find a new place to panhandle with their son in tow.
I feel bad, like, don't give these people money, they don't need it, they're driving a Benz.
And there's our video on the top 5 homeless people who got exposed on camera. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe so you see when I upload a video. Also, if you have your own top 5 or top 10 idea, feel free to use your extremely handy form in the description to submit it. With that said, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video.